So you mentioned the Orthodox, so that's a big deal here.
Ultra-Orthodox.
The Ultra-Orthodox. That's a big deal. Tonight they held a funeral in Bnei Brak.
Wasn't it last night?
They held it last night,
Yeah.
And a few hundred people attended, although it was highly illegal for a rabbi who
Legal
passed.
schmiegel. Yeah.
And they say, like, one of the biggest cities that got the corona is Bnei Brak, the ultra-Orthodox city. And we have a big problem with that population. They don't abide to the law.
Well, not our law.
So what do we do?
So the thing last night was actually very interesting. There was a rabbi who was quoted in the press saying, yeah, well, if not for corona, like, see, we're being good. If not for corona, there would have been thousands in the street. So, okay. And the police were there, of course, just standing around, leaning on their cars and watching.
Yeah, couldn't do anything.
Did not. Chose not. I live right by the park, Hayarkon. For those of you who don't know Tel Aviv very well, it's like, the Central Park of Tel Aviv, and it's beautiful, and it's why we barely managed to keep our sanity living in this city. That place is crawling with cops, and it's empty.
There was a viral video of
I saw that.
The police car chasing a guy inside the park.
On a bike.
And he just fled.
Like, one guy alone on a bike, yet they sit there in Bnei Brak and, like, we're not doing anything.
So why do you think?
Well, it's not what I think. It's so obvious. It's what I know. I mean, they clearly have direction to, and they said so today. There was a police spokesperson who said today, to be present, to let them know they're watching, kind of like they were doing with us, a month ago, but not to do anything.
It's worth mentioning that the Minister of Health is Ultra-Orthodox, and that's his community.
I've been, for some of the stuff I'm going to be writing about in the next few days, doing a lot of interviews and research on that issue that we're just talking about right now. Minister Litzman, for those of you who aren't Israeli.
He's also a rabbi.
He's also, well, yeah, of course. He does not have his high school graduation diploma. Either.
He's got a diploma from God.
Yeah. He's our Minister of Health. And he's been very, very noticeably absent throughout this whole crisis. But there are a few little gems that I think it's worth sort of, commenting on. One was an interview I was sent with him on a religious radio station last week. And the interviewer was saying, hey, what are we going to do? Pesach is coming. How are we going to celebrate Pesach with this, situation? And Minister Litzman said something to the effect of, we don't have to worry about Pesach because the Messiah, Mashiach, is going to come before Pesach, B'ezrat Hashem. And I've learned since that he's been saying that a lot, which, if he believes that, that's great. But it just doesn't feel appropriate to me for a minister of health to be saying that. And he's been, somebody I was speaking to today who makes it his vocation, he's an academic, and he basically studies the Haredim here, Ultra-Orthodox. And he said, there's a lot Litzman could have done. He could have spoken to the mayors and prominent rabbis in all these Haredi neighborhoods and towns and cities, and there are a lot of them, and said, I need you to say X. I need you to put out a communication saying X to your people, and they'll follow. And he didn't do it at all.
Throughout all the discussions with Bibi, according to what the press said, he always pushed not to close the mikvahs, not to close the Bet Knesset, the synagogues. He always, and even now, it's still open. Mikvahs are still open, and it's still allowed to pray 10 people max outside of the synagogue. And they say, you know what? They say the disease is dangerous, but if we are going to be saved, it's only because of prayers. Right. So we got to keep praying.
Just today, apparently, what's his name? The rabbi in Bnei Brak, Kanievsky? Kanievsky. Yeah, the Lithuanian, the rabbi of Lithuanian descent who's 93 years old, who apparently when asked a few weeks ago by his grandson, should we stop studying Torah? They're saying close the schools. And then he said, absolutely not. Greater risk to life if we don't pray and study, right? So apparently today he put out another statement. I haven't had a chance yet to verify it, but he put out a statement saying, don't even go on your balconies anymore. Stay home.
They managed to flip him.
So my question to him is, what happened? Either is Messiah coming or is are we not being protected by God or what?
But I mean, this is the question, right? I mean, it's a question of individual liberties. Like, at what point do you draw the line between, okay, this is a public health disaster, we have to lock everybody in their houses because, like Noor, I feel like sees things. This is the end of the world if we don't all stay put. Or, you might not agree with the way that they see the world, and you might not agree that prayer is going to be the answer, but this is how these people live. They, congregate in times even like this, and they want to go out and pray, and they want to go out and be at a funeral, so that's their individual liberty.
Until they get sick and they don't pay their taxes and they want to come into my healthcare system.
Exactly.
Sorry.
If they have their own healthcare system, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Which is why I would say that there shouldn't be a social healthcare system, but
that's another day.
That's another day.
I'm close to 60 and I've had bronchitis. I'm going to get triaged after them. Okay, if a 23-year-old Haredi kid, let's do tachlis here. Yeah. Bottom line, if a 23-year-old Haredi kid who has violated every single public health order gets taken to a hospital, and I'm there, and I'm a good girl, and I pay my taxes, but I'm close to 59, and I've had bronchitis. If we have an Italy kind of situation, what do you think is going to happen?